So I don't know if I've mentioned this to you, but I really like the expansive material of the Transformers movies, especially the characters exclusive to that material. While Transformers is still a popular franchise, there was a point where it was so popular because of the Michael Bay movies that so much stuff was made to tie in with them. And I'm burdened with so much knowledge on this subject because I spent my yesteryears reading up on this stuff on TF Wiki or watching old random reviews on movie toys instead of studying and trying in school or doing sports and getting fit.
You crying? I'll give you something to cry.
To start off this list, we gotta go back to the year of 2007. We got the first live action movie and Transformers was just starting to enter its peak popularity. Transformers was so popular, in fact, that when the toys for the '07 movie finally hit shelves, there was not enough supply for the demand of Transformer toys. So Hasbro, in order to keep up with the demand, just re-released a bunch of stuff from previous toy lines, but with new paint jobs. And here's where we get guys like Air Raid, a repaint of Skyblast, Breakaway, who's repainted from Hotshot, Crosshairs, not that one, who's a repaint of Strongarm, Big Daddy, whose mold originates from Downshift,
Ow!
Alita 1, not that one, who's a repaint of RC, Warpath, a repaint of Brushguard, Grindcore is a repaint of Landmine, Wingblade, a repaint from Wing Saber, Inferno, who switches things up by being an Armada repaint of Red Alert. Some of these repaints didn't even have name changes like Armorhide, Clocker, Signal Flare, Skyblast, and Strongarm, who was already repainted once to be Crosshairs, gets released again just as Strongarm. I hear complaints about these repaints that they just took older figures and gave them a dull color scheme, but for me, I don't know, I kinda like having a subsection of Unicron Trilogy figures with realistic paint jobs. Most of them suit it well, not to mention a couple of these are G1 references. All of these guys got to appear in other media. If you've seen my retrospective videos on the comic tie-ins for the first two movies, then you'll definitely recognize some of these guys as they appear in Defiance, Reign of Starscream, and Saga of the Allspark, and some even make it past to Nefarious from ROTF. Unfortunately, none of them really get much to do. Air Raid fucking dies. Breakaway and Inferno, probably dead. Warpath, Grindcore, Alita 1, and Signal Flare get strung up to a fake Allspark and then get their life force drained out of them to power said fake Allspark. Clocker dies twice. Armorhide makes it all the way to the post-ROTF era and then dies. Big Daddy shows up like once in a group shot, so hey, he could still be alive. Now that we've taken a look at the repaints, let's talk about the original molds in the toy line, starting with Longarm. This was back when every vehicle in a Transformer movie would get a toy, even the ones that didn't transform. Man, I low-key miss this era and wish they would bring it back, but thinking about it now, what vehicle from Rise of the Beasts could they make into a Transformer? 90s cop car Barricade? Maybe the car Recad? I don't know, if you have any ideas, feel free to comment. We don't even have a complete Autobot cast for that movie yet. Anyways, Longarm I actually have, and he's fantastic. Kinda towers over all my other Autobots, but I don't mind. Might as well be a Voyager class figure now. The figure's got great paint, detail, and articulation, with my only gripe being that his weapon isn't removable and his feet can kinda be annoying to work with at times. This figure is so good it was released 4 times, making it into the ROTF toy line as well. Twice. Longarm can also be seen in the first movie's video game tie-in as a drone that looks nothing like the toy, because the designers based it off a G1 hoist.
Donut?
He also shows up in the comics in the most disappointing way ever. So in Reign of Starscream, there's a tease of Sector 7 using the tow truck to make a man-made Transformer, and then the tease doesn't get paid off until Rising Storm, which came out 3 years later, where with no explanation, Longarm just shows up as an Autobot and then gets killed because Rising Storm is the worst comic ever, and we'll talk about that in the Dark of the Moon comic book tie-ins video. But besides that, Longarm isn't in much besides some Titan comics and a book prequel to ROTF, which gives him the most characterization as an old grizzled, cup-like character. Yeah, I can see that personality from this design. I love the head sculpt. It's kind of funny how intimidating he looks while his toy bio says he's a chummy, nice, all-around guy who just wants to help. I think there's definitely potential for this character and design. It's a shame not much was done with him, but either way, he makes for a kick-ass toy. Red Bumblebee. Cliffjumper, while being quite the name in most continuities, lacks the energetic tough guy personality most Cliffjumpers have. He does have some cool moments, which is something you can't say for most bots on this list, but yeah, in the comics he shows up for a little bit in Defiance, defending the Allspark with B, and then later has a standoff with Ironhide. He shows up in Reign of Starscream again as a member of RC's team on Mars, where he gets fucking killed. Sorry Cliff, I guess it wasn't meant to be. I'm sure you all know about his other movie appearance, where he lacks in fiction. Cliffjumper makes up for in action figures, making him the character with the most toys in the 07 toy line who didn't actually appear in the movie, because it was easy to repaint all those Bumblebee toys. His 07 Deluxe actually looks pretty good. I'm gonna have to get my mittens on that one day. Speaking of repaints, remember Evac? No, not that one. This pretty cool looking repaint of Blackout doesn't have much to him besides being in the background for some IDW comics and a minor role in Titan. Fun fact about Evac is that he actually got to move on to the ROTF toy line as a repaint of Blaze Master. It's a shame that that mold sucks. Evac really fell off. But there is the other Evac from the Universal Studios ride you probably know of already. His look is a redesign of Roadbuster, and it's not a bad look at all. I'm honestly kinda surprised Evac never made an appearance in any of the movies, not even as like a cameo or anything. Speaking of, the now defunct website for the Transformers ride came with a read-up on Evac that explained how he's a junior member of the Knights of Cybertron, and that after a surprise attack where they were all killed, Evac became the last knight. The fuck? Didn't this ride open in 2011? Why are there so many connections to TLK? Why wasn't Evac in TLK? Missed opportunity for real.
Oh yeah, big time. I should not have eaten all that Tijuana street machinery. Damn, forgot about that cluster bomb.
So I'm a little sick right now. I hope you can't tell, but in case you do, I'm putting this little warning in. So yeah, let's continue with the video. Another figure I have, Camshaft.
I love it when you say camshafts. Whisper it to me.
A repaint of Swindle. He has a very distinct look from the other Autobots, but also kind of fits in perfectly, just on the basis of being another car Autobot. The figure is definitely an acquired taste. He's got this flap that doesn't really connect anywhere. His arms and legs are all placed awkwardly, and his articulation is very limiting. With this mold, you gotta know what you're getting into. I was pretty disappointed when I first got Swindle with how bad the mold was, but then I got Camshaft, and with my expectations lowered, I actually enjoyed the figure a lot. He's got a cool color scheme, a unique look, and is just another car Autobot, so he's pretty cool in my book. Random fact about Camshaft is that he was also available in the ROTF toy line as a bonus value figure that would be packed with Leader Class Optimus Primes and Megatrons for no additional cost. Wow, Hasbro must have really been trying to get rid of that mold. He does show up in the comics for a little bit as a part of RC's team, only to get killed. Again, another pretty cool design I'd like to see revitalized. Shockwave doesn't have to be the only Cyclops Transformer out there. Salvage, a red repaint of Dropkick, not that one. Being another Autobot that was brought to life with the Allspark, his toy bio characterizes him as happy just being a truck that hauls scrap, lacking any further ambition in life. Wow, he's just like me for real. He's strong and hardy, but would rather spend his time in the junkyard over fighting Decepticons. Unfortunately, none of that personality is shown in his minor comic appearance, where, like Longarm, he's teased at the end of Reign of Starscream and then dies in the first issue of Rising Storm. He's got some stuff in Titan, and apparently appears in the Nintendo 3DS game of Rise of the Dark Spark as a support unit. I don't know what any of that means, so I gotta watch a gameplay video to understand. What? Longarm? What the fuck are you doing here? Anyways, Salvage also has a Power Core Combiner figure. Remember those? The toy bio suggests that it's the same characters as 07 counterpart. Man, the Transformers toy bio universe is nuts. Remember how the Jungle Bone Crusher toy bio said that after his encounter with Optimus in 2007, Bone Crusher, who somehow survived, managed to escape to South America, where he now relieves stress by destroying trees in South American military convoys. Landmine's a fun one. His alt mode can be seen a bunch of times in the movie, so it's almost like he has a bunch of cameos. I really like the way his toy looks. It's another one that I need to hunt down eventually. I covered pretty much everything he does in the IDW comics in my retrospective videos, but to run them down one more time, he shows up kinda in Reign of Starscream as a failed man-made transformer. He doesn't even get to finish transforming. It's okay, buddy, it happens to everyone. But later on in Alliance, Sector 7 gets their shit together, and now there's a bunch of landmines that are fully operational that Wreckage fights. And yeah, that's about it. His figure was also repainted slightly in the ROTF toy line as Armorhide. So yeah, Armorhide went from looking like this to this. He was also repainted in the Dark of the Moon line as Commodore. Am I saying it right? As a bonus value pack with Voyager Optimus. One of the oddest choices to repaint, yet is kind of one of my favorites, has to be Smokescreen. This guy started his life as a Sonic Shock Smokescreen toy, which was a repaint of Ion Blast Autobot Jazz. They just did Jazz in the Smokescreen colors, which is such a random choice, but since the toys did it, now we got red and blue Jazz in the comics too. Smokescreen in the comics is a definition of an Autobot that's just there. Like, he's there for a lot of the comic books, like Defiance and Reign of Starscream, but again, he's just kinda there. In Reign of Starscream, he's there as part of RC's team on Mars and ends up being one of the only survivors. While it's never explained how Smokescreen survived Mars, we do know that he went to Earth, where he was captured and mind-controlled by the Initiative, the evil human organization in Transformers Nefarious. Eventually, he is broken free from the mind control, and after all that drama, Smokescreen is finally free to roam around Earth with all his Autobot friends. Until he's fucking killed in Rising Storm. God damn it! But hey, he also got a ROTF Deluxe class figure that did something new with his paint job. It's another one that looks pretty good. I would definitely want to get this guy eventually. I think we've covered all the movie 1 Autobots that weren't actually in the movie, with the addition of the Transformers ride Evac, who I just threw in because I'm just so kind and generous. I hope you enjoyed learning about these guys. They're my current hyperfixation. And if you notice that I skipped on a lot of the Titan comic stuff, do not fret. I want to make a video about the Titan comic magazines, so stick around for that. And yeah, that's the video. See you guys in like another 5 months.